look at those colors. Oh my goodness. That is beautiful. Whew. Worth it. We are heading into a place called Gladstone to have a little bit of a stretch and a walk around. I've got no idea what's there other than I put a pin on a map many years ago for some reason, so it must have caught my fancy for some reason or another. Prepare to stop. I'm prepared.
There's a lot of campsites. I can see some campers over to the left.
There are a lot, isn't there?
We just came for a sticky beak.
This is Jill. Jill is standing beside the Gladstone Jetty. Apparently this is a jetty that was used to offload wool and other things that came from the stations around here a long, long time ago, and they never ever built a town here because road transport took over. There's the campsite area. Everybody's tucked up very, very close to the water. It's a really shallow bay here. It's amazing to think that this entire structure was all hand constructed. Each one of these stones had to have been picked up by some dude or some lady and put in place. There'd be millions of them. And there's the terminus of the old jetty. If you were game, I guess you could walk out there. There's signs saying don't, but they're pretty solid beams. And if you've got balance, you'll be all right. Crystal clear water. That's a nice little common area here in the camp. There's a little shelter area, a pizza hut, barbecue plate, got a little green grass area here, and the campsites are spread out far enough that you're not on top of one another. Not a bad little spot if you're looking to camp. We're going up to a little lookout called White Bluff, which is just a little hill on the side of the road.
I don't think we're at White Bluff yet.
Aren't we?
We're at a random
Other White
hill.
Bluff?
Yeah, there's White Bluff up in front of us.
Oh, okay.
When you come over this hill, you're going to see it.
All right.
See, there's White Bluff out there.
Okay. I think she's right. According to our map, yep, we are not on White Bluff. Still pretty. That structure you see in front of you is the boardwalk that goes out into the Stromatolites at Hamlin Pool. That was damaged by a cyclone 2 years ago, and it hasn't been fixed by national parks yet. That's disgraceful, national parks. Jill and I came out here 30 years ago to check out these Stromatolites, and we couldn't find the bloody things. Now there's signage and there's a bitumen road practically up to their doorstep. The tide's high at the moment, so they're all buried underneath the water, unfortunately, except for these guys really, really close up. The reason that I found these things so fascinating was I was a microbiologist at one point in time, and these little guys were the first form of oxygen creating life on the planet. And they reckon that these guys pumped the oxygen into the atmosphere and created the planet that we know today. Well, that's about as close as we're going to get to the Stromatolites, unfortunately. Basically, the way these little guys form is it's like a microbial layer that dies, and then another layer forms on top of them, and that dies, and another layer forms on top of them until they grow into these Stromatolites. And they take thousands and thousands of years to grow. This area's got the perfect temperature, and it's got really high salinity type water. We've just finished up at Hamlin Pool. checking out the Stromatolites. We found them this time, and we are next heading towards Shell Beach. Have a look at that. That is a beach, solid beach of shells. No sand anywhere, just shells. Billions or trillions of shells. What's a number bigger than a trillion? A Googleplex? So what's the secret to these little suckers? The salinity of the water out there is twice what it is in the open ocean. So these guys have very, very few predators because it's so saline out there. But the plankton levels are also really, really low because of the salinity. So how do these little puppies survive? They photosynthesize. They got a symbiotic relationship with some algae, and the algae photosynthesize inside of the skin of the cockles and basically feed the cockles. So cockles just sit there with their mouths open and suck in the sunlight. They live for 1 to 2 years, and when they cark it, the waves wash them up onto shore here. This beach is 10 kilometers long and at its widest point 1 kilometer wide, and these shells go down to a depth of 10 meters. That is unbelievable. Let's try this water, shall we? Oh yeah, that is super saline. Holy cowcats. Ah.
And if you go swimming in it, you come out covered in a layer of salt.
Yeah, there's Jilly coming down the Shell Beach.
The light is blinding. Like, look at the sparkles on the water.
This is cool. You've got the hummocks of shells tossed here by the waves. Jill's getting some cockles in her shoes. They are very sharp. The further you go back, the smaller these hummocks get, and the cockles kind of get a little bit pulverized into dust. Obviously the older guys are at the back and the young guys are up at the foreshore. Well, after our visit to Shell Beach, we are now going to Goulet Bluff in my best possible French accent. This whole area is from French explorers, so I'll be able to practice it for days, Jill. She's going great.
If any of you have ever heard Carrie speak French, that will explain my reaction.
Here we are, the end of the line.
Look at it. It's green and blue.
It is bizarre colored, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. I hope this video can pick up the color. It's like someone wrote in the bottom of the water with a spirograph or one of those ink screen things, whatever you call those. Very cool. Over my head it went.
Okay, now we're going to go down this bluff, whose name I have forgotten.
Goulet.
Goulet.
How did you forget that?
I don't know.
You're as good at French as you were decades ago.
Yeah.
Rhymes with poulet, your favorite meat.
F chicken, Terry says.
Yeah, Terry's least favorite protein.
It is my least favorite protein. I think I might like tofu better.
I don't think so. I'll give you tofu next time I have chicken. 'Cause I love chickens.
That is a beautiful coastline. Wow.
Very pretty. There's people down on the beach.
Yeah, there is too. All right, I popped the diff locks in, not because we need it to go downhill, but just in case it picks a wheel up so it doesn't run away on me. Even though I am in an auto and I'm on the brake the whole way down, I'd just like to take it down nice and measured because it's all kind of gnarly and twisty. We'll do a little bit of filming between Goulet Bluff and the highway, running along the cliffs, but we are running directly into the sun. I suspect it's going to look pretty shicin' through a camera lens. Looks great through the eyeball lens.
You trying to do fake German in with your French there?
I never purported to speak a second language of anything. That's Hamlin Pool in front of us, and the Shell Beach. That's Goulet Bluff, where we just came from. We have just entered the town of Denham, and there's a mini schnauzer.
Oh, cutie.
He's tugging and pulling. Cool. We just got to get some fuel, and there is the petrol station.
Town center and Monkey Maya in the visitor center.
Well, you can't get much more on the coast than this, can you?
No. So you're on the wrong side.
Good
I
call.
don't know how you do that.
It's easy when you have dyslexia. This Bowser is out of order. Awesome.
Give me coffee and no one gets hurt, it says on that side of there. There's an echidna on the road, but now that I've come, he's not moving. I'll just film you really quickly, Guy, because you got to get off. Yeah, go. Go, Guy, go. Go, go. Come on, get off the road. Come on, little guy, go.
Oh, I think he's actually going now.
Go, Guy, go. We don't want you on the road. We're at Francois Peron National Park right now, and they actually give you air. There's no other easier way to say that. It tells you to deflate your tires, reduce tire pressure on this side of the road, and on the way out of the four-wheel drive track, inflate your tires over here. So that's really cool. Here comes someone now.
We drove to Blue Lagoon, but the camping area was packed wall to wall with caravans and camper trailers. As you know by now, that's not our scene, so we pushed on a little further to South Gregory's camp, which only had one other family camped some distance away from us. Perfect.
Filming you.
You run over by a car on.
There's no cars. A couple of boats. Hole here that something lives in. I don't know what it is. Possibly a bilby.
Just leaving Gregory's camp, and we are confronted by a mob of angry emus.
Oh, get out! Mob of angry. Here, pull a balloon. Oh, are they going to start running?
They're going to run down the road.
There they go.
I wonder how long this is going to carry on for.
Oh, Dad's smart. Tell them to get off, Dad. Get off the road. Emus.
That's the way.
Yay.
Come on, guys.
Oh, Dad, you've gone the wrong way. Your kids are up here. Your children are running the wrong direction. Oh no.
Come on, kids. Run off into the bush.
Wait for Dad.
There they go. We are heading now to Cape Peron, which is the very top of the peninsula. And the track in isn't too bad for the first probably 30 kilometers or so. But then it turns into this stuff. And
rocking and a rolling and a bumping and a dumping.
Yeah, we are doing probably 5 kilometers an hour right now. And you couldn't do any faster or you'd go flying out of your seat.
or wreck your truck.
Yeah, it is just chewed to the buggery.
But yeah, this is nauseating.
Yeah, this will be a very, very slow trip to the tip if this is the way it is all the way.
So many animal tracks everywhere. It's awesome. Very fascinating. Wish we could find all the animals that are doing it. They're all out running around at night when we're sleeping for their own safety.
So yeah, I think we've got roughly 10 kilometers to get to Cape Peron. And if we're doing 5K an hour, that's going to take us 2 hours if my math is right.
And then we got to come back the same way.
I've actually dropped down into low range just so that we could take these things a little bit slower.
There's no comfortable speed. You can just see it's like ripples.
It is. It's a washing board, that's for sure.
Just like my abs. Flaps.
Well, looking at that sign, we have made it to Cape Peron.
North, it says on the map.
What's north in French? I can't remember. Sud, I think, is south.
Yeah. All I could think of was dark, like noir. It's like, no,
That's
not
black.
nighttime. Nord, maybe?
Nord? Yeah, maybe Nord.
Affirmative.
Okay, so that's what we're in store for. And I see there's a high quality fence to protect us from falling to our death. Wow, look at those colors. Oh my goodness. That is beautiful. Whew. Worth it.
Beautiful morning. It's about 9 a.m.
That is magnificent. Wowzer. The seagrass beds down there too. Keep hoping to see a dugong.
Another little hole.
So we were over there at Cape Peron, and now we are at a place called Skipjack Point, which is only about 1.5 kilometers away. And this is where the strobe is, or the lighthouse. That strobe was going off all last night. We could see it, and we were 10-15 kilometers away.
The parking lot and the signs are being reclaimed.
Help me, I'm sinking.
What are you thinking about?
Just to get our bearings, there's our lighthouse, and over there is Monkey Maya, or is it Monkey Mia? You decide. The views along the coastline here are just spectacular. Look at that emerald blue water of 2 different shades, red cliffs, white sand. Hey, and we even got a seagull thrown in for good measure. There we've got Cape Peron. That's where we just were. Mr. Seagull's got a nice perch up there. Looks like he's been depositing things on the solar panels. That's got to help with the efficiency. There's an eagle nest up in there on that wooden structure. And there's our lighthouse with a flashing strobe on the top. Wonder what the idea with the portals are on it. And a scientific instrument station. I know that one up at the very top, that's the Earth. I'm not sure what that guy is, but if I'm gonna guess, probably temperature. That looks like temperature probe cable to me. And this is maybe to transmit the data to wherever the receiving station is. And it's all solar powered, of course. An angle of the dangle indicator. We are on Bottle Beach in Bottle Bay in Francois Peron National Park. Going for a little run up the beach, heading back towards Point Peron.
Rocks.
There are rocks in there, aren't there?
That's why I'm saying be careful.
Oh, that's the end of the line. Cliff and cliff.
There are goat tracks on the beach here in front of me, and beautiful red cliffs behind. Red and the white sand together is so cool.
We have just been informed via email that our barge over to Dirk Hartog Island has been delayed by 1 day due to bad weather.
High winds.
High winds, yeah. Not bad weather. Look at the skies, it's beautiful out. But, yeah, it's just a tiny little passage between the steep point and the island, so I'd imagine it would get chopped up pretty easily and quickly. So we will need to find ourselves another night somewhere here on the mainland, and our Dirk Hartog experience gets cut short by a day. Here is a classic example of where a satellite dish comes in uber handy. Jill and I got a random email come through that said that the barge over to Dirk Hartog Island was delayed for a day. We knew that that Shelter Bay camp area was almost fully booked up because we booked it the day before our barge leaving. So we set up the satellite dish, got on a park stay, quick smart, and there was one site left. Had we not booked that site, I don't know where we would have stayed out there. We would have just had to illegal camp somewhere, I guess. But that's a classic example of where a satellite dish is uber handy for things like this. Because if our barge was canceled, everybody else's barges were canceled as well. So the whole campground, or anybody who is camped out there waiting for the barge, is going to be looking for a place to stay. Luckily, we jagged the last site. Thank you, Mr. Musk. We are heading out of...
And up and down out of...
up and down out of Francois Peron National Park. And I think this is the last of the washboard stuff. I think once we hit these salt lakes, it comes good. Corrugations are okay, but those things are... they're not even corrugations. They're giant ruts.
Go left there. You should go left in case anyone comes right. There you go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
Hip hip.
Hooray!
There you go. 57.
57. Nice. Thanks for my jam sponge cake roll.
That was the best option that IGA had.
You want a piece?
Yes, please.
Okay.
It's only good if you share it with friends.
Okay.
Okay, love you.
Love you too. Thanks.
Bye.